Tables 7 and 8, set 8, s'il vous plaît. You may go to the buffet. day 5 and 6, you hungry? You want to go eat? Go ahead.
Okay, table 4 and table 3, your time has come. Please go get some food. Okay, folks. Table 1 and table 2. Table numéro 1 puis numéro 2. C'est votre moment.
If people didn't see it earlier, the dessert tables are just at the end of this the buffet area, so free for all on that.
You've got 10 minutes to get your desserts, to get your food in. Vous avez 10 minutes pour finir de manger, pour aller prendre les desserts, le café. On commence dans 10 minutes, la remise des prix. Pink.
There. Look at Raymond's
Bonsoir, bonsoir, bonsoir tout le monde.
Check, check, check.
Est-ce que tout le monde est prêt?
Check, check, 1, 2, 1, 2.
don't
Can I get
hear
a
you.
witness?
Is it working? Merci, Jason.
We're just waiting for our mics. There I am. I heard a laugh.
No, I was waiting for Jason.
Oh, you were waiting for Jason.
I was.
Okay.
He's keeping up, let's go. So let's go, Jason said, let's go, stop talking and listen to us.
I'm glad you're here to just keep everyone in check, Tiffany.
I know, I'm a mom.
Good
so,
cop, bad cop
I
situation.
don't have a problem telling people what to do.
1, 2, 3, look at me. That's what I've heard is the greatest way to do it.
I'm not sure I want that though.
No? 1, 2, 3, look at her.
Bonsoir tout le monde. Good evening, friends, colleagues. Some bosses. Are there bosses here?
Any bosses in the room?
Oh, you're a boss.
Not one. Not one boss. They didn't want to come support.
Too bad. Bienvenue au gala des prix de l'Association canadienne des journalistes.
That is right. Welcome to the Canadian Association of Journalists Award Gala, or as many private media outlets may call it, something we can simply monitor via Zoom.
I'm talking to you.
My name is Joelle Tomlinson. I'm with Global News Calgary.
Et je suis Tiffany Roquette, journaliste à Radio-Canada en Alberta. Oui, il y a des francophones en Alberta. On est peut-être même la minorité passée sous le silence et sous le radar des conservateurs unis de Daniel Smith. Alors, continuez à être francophone ici.
This is how we know who's francophone, right?
Yeah.
We've got the chuckles, we've got the laughs. I told her I would just keep laughing all the way through.
Yes, please.
Yes, I'm here for you.
Whoa.
There it is. Okay, it is so nice to be
Maybe
hosting.
that's Daniel Smith.
Yeah. She heard us and she's
Yeah.
shutting us down. Okay. It is so nice to be hosting this in Calgary. Did you guys have fun in Calgary? People who came in, visited our city? Yes. So this is the first time ever that the CAJ Awards and Conference have come to the city. And if the Alberta Separatists have their way, we might have gotten this one in the nick of time. Yeah.
Some people might hope this is the last CAG conference in Gala in Calgary. Not because they want Alberta to leave the country, quoique ça ferait de la nouvelle, hein? On aime ça, de parler de séparation, but just because the show is starting so late, poor people in the Eastern Canada.
Yeah, sorry about that. Really,
Just
though, we
like
are
you.
so glad to bring Canada's journalists here to Calgary. We hope you've enjoyed our big skies, our record-breaking temperatures over the past week, our friendly-ish people, our lack of obnoxious hair-frizzing humidity.
Qui vous donnera une bonne excuse demain, parce que l'alcool, non, c'est la sécheresse, c'est ça qui explique votre gueule de bois. Sorry if you expected us to be dressed as cowboys and cowgirls. We are a chic city of 1.5 million people now. But if you come back in July, even accountants are riding horses to work, or at least really short shorts, jean shorts.
Yeah, we get to see 55-year-old men in short jean shorts for 10 days every year. It's the best time of the year. Okay, and also welcome to the home of $25 fees for every Freedom of Information request. They're called FOIPs. Yeah, boo for that. Which, as new legislation from the Smith government has truly enshrined, stands for fuck off, it's private.
What a year it has been since the last CAG award. Think back to everything we assumed last summer. Je me souviens. There was no talk about us becoming the 51st state or Alberta becoming the formerly 10th province.
We didn't know how to spell tariff, and we didn't really need to know.
Fun fact, un F en français, deux F en anglais.
Okay, so pro tip, in English, you can't spell tariffs without FFS. Okay, we got it. The print media was on that one so much faster than the TV journalists. Don't worry, I'm one of you. Pierre Poilievre was 20 points ahead in the polls, and there was a lock. He was a lock to become prime minister. CBC was sure to be defunded.
Peut-être pas Radio-Canada. J'avais déjà choisi mon prochain bureau. Corner office. I was coming for you.
I got that one. And
It's a nice
everyone in
corner
it was great. I've seen it. It's beautiful. And everyone in Alberta would be oh so happy about who would replace Justin Trudeau as the next prime minister. But enough about politics. And since we're here in Calgary, we will just skip right over talking about hockey.
But let's get on with the awards. On va remettre le prix ACJ dans les 2 langues grâce à un nombre record de participation et de finalistes en français. Bravo les francophones. And to honor that, I'll be presenting much of tonight in French. And if you wonder what that awesome joke I just made, you can yell in English, please. And I might do it, or I might throw you out of the room, depending on how I feel. Be a little bit more like Mark Carney. He's trying hard. So try harder in both Canada's official languages. And that's where the jobs are. We are hiring all the time in Radio-Canada, so
I keep getting targeted on LinkedIn. I need to learn my French. Okay, I love it. We're also doing something new this year with the awards. So for the first time, we're giving out gold and silver prizes in each category. So if we announce you as the silver winner, we invite you to come up to the table here and collect your certificates. You're not coming here for a speech, okay? But we are very proud of you, okay? And if you win the gold prize in your category, you can come up to the microphone and give a brief thank you speech. We underline, please be brief. We're giving you a $1.30, okay? We know how to do a $1.30 hit. It's late in New Brunswick and Montreal. And if you are joining by Zoom and you win gold, we will unmute you and you can speak to our gala and everyone watching on YouTube.
Because all the reporters are on YouTube now.
Yep.
Maybe the francophones get it? Elle explique? No? Okay. Thank you.
Yeah. I'll take it.
Pour la première fois, les prix argent et or seront donnés dans chaque catégorie. Si vous gagnez l'argent, venez à la table avec Jason. Recevoir votre certificat. There. Si vous gagnez l'or, vous avez le droit à un discours. Dirigez-vous vers ce micro. Ajustez-le comme vous voulez. Faites ce que vous voulez. Mais gardez ça bref. Votre famille sait déjà que vous l'aimez. Votre boss ne vous regarde pas. Donc, pas besoin de beurrer épais, là, il ne va pas vous donner de promotion. Et il est tard dans l'Est. Alors, si vous nous joignez par Zoom, gagnez l'or, nous allons vous unmute. Je me souviens plus de mots en français. Et vous pourrez vous adresser à tous ici et sur YouTube. Si vous avez des questions.
So she's saying if you have any questions about how the show will run, please email them. Don't forget to include your deadline. We'll be sure to reply at least a week late. Dodge the question entirely and then reuse a quote from last year. You can actually submit them to our Facebook page and we'll pre-approve them. You know, it's just industry standard at this point.
So let's start with your award for student journalism. It's sponsored for the first time by the National News Media Council and the Fraser McDougall Journalism Prize Fund.
The National News Media Council, CAJ, Student Journalism Award of Excellence. Le Conseil national des médias, ACJ, Prix étudiant de l'excellence en journalisme. Andrew Neary, R.A. Senate, From Public School to Global Headquarters, 170 Years of Learning. The Chronicle, Durham College.
For Tracy Mannering, R.A. Senate was a special place from a simpler time. Mannering started as a student at the school in 1976.
Asba Ahmad, Sophia Coppolino, Amy Look. The hazing incident that erased a prestigious Queen's Commerce Club. The Queen's Journal, Queen's University.
In the early hours of the morning, after initiation, peers found Spencer lying on the floor of a campus building, intoxicated and extremely vulnerable.
Chloe Kim, Leonore Diaz, Alexa DiFrancesco, Noel Tesfa. The Call. We Met You When. Toronto Metropolitan University School of Journalism.
It was kind of bad.
It was worse than what you initially thought.
I'm so sorry. That's horrible.
Crazy.
That's Noelle, Chloe, and Alexa. They were working on Alexa's original idea for this episode. For Chloe, it wasn't so easy. Just as she was trying to end the phone call with her interviewee, the interviewee decided to ask Chloe a personal question.
Chloe, can I say something? Is it fair to say that you're of Korean origin?
Nolan Tyndall. Getting by on gig work. The hidden costs of easy money. The eye-opener, Toronto Metropolitan University.
For some, this decentralized workforce offers a tantalizing commitment to adaptability, the ability to balance work with academic demands. Yet for many students, the allure of high rewards advertised by the gig economy proves elusive and ultimately unattainable.
Ohm Shanbog. The Driving Dilemma, How Nursing Students Struggle to Access Placements. The Western Gazette, Western University.
Despite the importance of these placements to Western's nursing education program, the university does not offer any support to students who may be struggling with their transportation needs prior to their placements, which some students say can pose a major challenge.
Voilà vos 5 finalistes dans le Conseil national des médias ACJ Prix étudiante de l'excellence en journalisme. Those are your 5 finalists in the National News Media Council CAJ Student Journalism Award of Excellence.
All right. Incredible recipients coming up. At the National News Media Council Award for Student Excellence Silver Award is Om Shambog from the Western Gazette, and he is here today. Congratulations, Om. So once you receive your award,
you'll be firmly directed on that side, but for a picture, so keep smiling. And the gold award goes to Nolan Tyndall from the Eye Opener at TMU. He's here too.
I wrote up something short on my phone because I knew I'd be nervous if I got the honor of being up here. So I want to thank you all very much for this opportunity. And this is just such an amazing way to end my J-School career at TMU and with the Eye Opener. As I'm sure you all know, the economy is bad. And if anyone is aware of this, it's young people. And young people who are entering the job market for the first time. I had the honor of talking to some of these young people for this story, and I'm so thankful to the sources who shared with me how difficult it is to work in a gig economy, which is frankly quite exploitative, and how difficult it is for many students to make ends meet. I want to thank the entire team at the Eye Opener who have helped me to tell this story and helped me grow as a journalist throughout my time at J-School. And I also want to thank everyone who supported me along the way this far. I can't wait to see where I'm headed next, and I want to thank you all so much for your encouragement this weekend, and thank you for this award.
The Eye Opener is incredible. I wrote for the Eye Opener when I was at TMU, so congratulations to you, and I love seeing alumni take home this award. All right, so the gold winners in each category will also receive a $500 prize, but this year we're not cutting checks. You will actually receive your prize money by e-transfer. CAJ keeping up with the times, eventually.
Passons au prochain prix, le prix du photojournalisme.
The photojournalism category, la catégorie photojournalisme. Gavin John, a portfolio, the Globe and Mail, and the Narwhal. Amy Romer, photography from a 4-day reporting trip with Brandy Morin. Indigenews, Ricochet Media. Martin Tremblay, A New Hope for Syria. La Presse. Carlos Osorio, portfolio for Reuters, the Globe and Mail. Voilà les 4 finalistes dans la catégorie photojournalisme. There are your 4 photojournalism category finalists.
All right, incredible photography. The silver for photojournalism goes to Carlos Osorio. Carlos is not here tonight. He is hopefully monitoring via Zoom.
We're hoping. Et le prix en or en photojournalisme est présenté à Martin Tremblay de la presse. C'est la deuxième année pour Martin. Bravo.
Merci beaucoup. Je parle en français naturellement. Merci beaucoup à tout le monde. Désolé pour ceux qui ne comprennent pas. J'aimerais remercier tous les Syriens qui m'ont accueilli après 50 années d'un régime de terreur incroyable. J'ai eu la joie d'être avec eux dans ce moment historique et de vivre ce moment-là avec eux. Quelques mots en anglais que je me suis fait une note, inquiétez-vous pas. Faut que je la trouve. Bon, je l'ai pu. Je l'ai délité en venant. Donc, thank you so much, everybody. Sorry for my English. I try. I would like to thank my fixer in Syria because it's very, very important when you work in the international story like that, like a story whose is everything is going very fast in front of you, and the fixer is very helpful for analyze everything. And thank you for every Syrian. You have people from Syria here, no? This people was in the regime of terror until 50 years. And I have the chance to make here, to live this day with these people, and it's a very big honor. Thank you very much, everybody. Have a good night.
Voici maintenant les finalistes dans la catégorie Scoop.
The Scoop category. La catégorie Scoop. Shireen Ahmed. Toronto awarded WNBA expansion team to begin play in 2026. CBC Sports.
Women's professional basketball is coming to Toronto. CBC Sports has learned that Kilmer Sports Incorporated, headed by Toronto billionaire Larry Tenenbaum, has been granted an expansion franchise with the Women's National Basketball Association.
Anaïs El-Boudjani. Le Canada demande des travailleurs de la santé de Gaza s'ils sont soignés des membres du Hamas. La Converse.
C'est très alarmant, s'exclame l'avocate en droit de l'immigration Debbie Rackless, basée à Toronto. Cette dernière estime n'avoir jamais vu une telle question posée à un travailleur de la santé dans une demande de visa.
Joanna Friketich. Investigating deaths at Ontario Children's Hospital. The Hamilton Spectator.
2 kids have died following tonsil and or adenoid surgery at McMaster Children's Hospital. The hospital halted the procedure starting Tuesday, except for emergencies, while an external independent review is done of the program and the care it provides.
Bethany Lindsay. 1/3 of BC's publicly funded substance use treatment beds don't provide any treatment. Investigative Journalism Foundation.
Her daughter is an active drug user. The last time she reached out to ask for help, Antrobus said there were no publicly funded beds available. The family was forced to pay out of pocket for expensive private treatment.
Brett McKay. Alberta Premier reveals plans to transfer hospitals away from AHS. St. Albert Gazette.
At a UCP town hall event in Drayton Valley, Premier Danielle Smith revealed the next phases of her government's restructuring of healthcare in Alberta, including plans to remove Alberta Health Services as the operator of some hospitals.
There are your 5 finalists in the Scoop category. Voilà vos 5 finalistes dans la catégorie Scoop.
We are definitely among our people. Like, Scoop gets us excited. Scoop, my husband thinks, is an ice cream date. So this is perfect. The silver winner of the Scoop Award is Bethany Lindsay from the Investigative Journalism Foundation.
Et la gagnante dans cette catégorie est Anaïs El-Boudjaini de la Converse.
Thank you, merci. I was not expecting to win because I read everything else and it was so good. So I'm going to switch to French. J'ai rencontré tellement de journalistes incroyables cette fin de semaine, puis quand j'écris sur Gaza, je m'imagine du jour au lendemain vous perdre tous. Et c'est ce qui se passe là-bas. And I think I'm going to say it in English. I met so many incredible people here this weekend, and every time I report on Gaza from here, I imagine losing all of you, and this is the impetus with which I report on those voices. I thank the people that came to me. It was months of convincing people to show me the receipts, the proofs, and I thank La Converse, Leila, for encouraging me and supporting me or push me to write this story. And voilà. Merci.
I can't give her a hug without giving me one. Come on. She got the first F yeah on the winner. Did we hear that?
From the Francophone queue, so that's good.
All right, where are we?
La prochaine catégorie, d'excellence au quotidien.
The Daily Excellence category. La catégorie d'excellence au quotidien. Margaret Evans, Stephanie Genzer, David Iacolucci. At Saydnaya Prison, Syrians are looking for answers. CBC News, The National.
On the grounds of Syria's most notorious prison, Saydnaya, names read out to a crowd desperate to hear the one they long for and fearing it at the same time.
I am very, very, very tired.
Hosni Korno shows us the birth certificates of his 4 sons, imprisoned here in 2012. He hasn't seen them since.
Syria was already a police state when Bashar al-Assad inherited power from his father, and when the opposition rose up against him in 2011, the prison system became one of his most brutal tools of repression.
Suzanne Rent. Build Nova Scotia gives Atlantic Road Construction and Paving deadline after company puts barriers at trail in Dartmouth Cove. The Halifax Examiner.
She said the workers put down one concrete block, but a group of people holding a Save Dartmouth Cove sign stood on top of that block and started singing and telling the workers to go home.
Sebastian Braun, Fallon Hewitt. Former Hamilton Catholic teacher killed in random attack. Police charge alleged serial killer. The Hamilton Spectator.
Meanwhile, a separate surveillance camera pointed at Colburn and James Streets shows the accused walking across a church parking lot and then towards the corner of McNabb and Colburn. Moments later, screams for help can be heard on the footage.
Shannon Waters. What on earth just happened with BC's carbon tax? The Narwhal.
In less than a year, carbon pricing morphed from a widely accepted measure for tackling climate change to a political pariah. What the heck happened?
Thomas Gerbet, Lise Millette. Cancer. Rouyn-Noranda va perdre son seul médecin oncologue. Radio-Canada, Info.
Anne Savoie est sortie ébranlée du bureau de son médecin. L'hémato-oncologue, le seul à Rouyn-Noranda, lui a appris qu'il quittait la région.
Voilà les 5 finalistes dans la catégorie d'excellence au quotidien. There are your 5 finalists in the Daily Excellence category.
And the Silver Winner Award goes to Suzanne Rent from the Halifax Examiner, who's on Zoom. So everyone, go Suzanne.
And the gold winner is Shannon Waters from the North.
Very popular.
Not as popular as the carbon tax.
Wow. I took one look at the other nominees in that category and was like, wow, it's really great to be on that list. And was not expecting this. So
It has been really great to be here with everyone this weekend and to talk so much about political journalism, particularly in this moment that we find ourselves in, trying to do this work in. I think a lot of people were very surprised, maybe particularly in BC, by what happened with the carbon tax. This story came out of a news conference on a day where I thought I was going to be doing a completely different story. And then David Eby said that BC's carbon tax would go away if the federal one did. And so we changed gears, many thanks to my very flexible and talented editor, Sarah Cox. And just so much appreciation for everybody in this room, and particularly the political reporters. I think that what we do is very important, even if sometimes the people who are the subjects of our stories would much rather we didn't do it at all. Thank you.
Notre prochaine catégorie est reportage écrit, written feature, which one again is the category which received the most entries this year.
The written feature category. La catégorie reportage écrit. Fabrice de Pierrebourg. Reconstruire une cité millénaire. L'actualité.
Les combats ont transformé plusieurs quartiers de cette ville chargée d'histoire, en particulier son cœur ancien bordant le fleuve Tigre, en champ de ruines piégés par des bombes artisanales.
Janice Dixon, Operation Abraham's Mission of Mercy. The Globe and Mail.
Another checkpoint was coming up. Miss Adari's heart pounded. The passports were pressed up against her pregnant belly as the Taliban officer looked inside the car.
Lindsay Jones, A Cloud of Mistrust. The Globe and Mail.
A year later, the sleepy agricultural hamlets of Kings County are still reeling from his killing, the deceit in the aftermath, and questions about what justice means when those involved are teenagers.
Jana Pruden, The Audacity of Rope. The Globe and Mail.
Macy O'Clair was 21 years old, petite, with a soft twang and an old-fashioned country way of speaking, full of yes ma'ams and no sirs. But her unassuming air belied a steely determination.
Rachel Brown, A Killer Among Them. McLean's.
Spring became summer, the police investigation continued, but there was little news. The families of the missing women were haunted by the idea that Skibicki's face was the last thing their mother, daughter, sister had seen.
There are your 5 finalists in the written feature category. Voilà vos 5 finalistes dans la catégorie de reportage écrit.
Et le gagnant du prix argent est Fabrice de Pierrebourg de l'actualité. Il est avec nous au Zoom, donc il faut l'applaudir.
And the gold winner for the written feature award goes to Rachel Brown for McLean's, who's also on Zoom.
Thank you very much to the CAJ for this incredible honor. I'd also like to take a moment to mention the victims, Morgan Harris, Mercedes Myron, Rebecca Contois, and the woman who was formerly known as Buffalo Woman named Ashley Shingoose. Thank you to the survivors of these women who spoke to me and trusted me with their story. And thank you to my editor at Maclean's, Matthew Halliday, and for honoring investigative journalism at this time when it has never been more important. Thank you.
Now for our community written feature category.
The community written feature category. La catégorie reportage écrit communautaire. Leni Lamberink. Regrowth. CBC North.
Noel Football cradles a small, tightly wrapped conifer cone in a gloved hand. This little guy is going to help change the whole world, he says. Born and raised in Betchicon, Football is one of a few Cleachon men helping sort cones on a gray day in late August.
Julian Green. Troubled Water. The Eagle Gold Mine Failure. CBC Yukon.
Steve Bike walks a forest path framed by high bush cranberries, rose hips, and Siberian aster. Slung over his shoulder, a rifle. The bullet in the chamber is large enough to down a moose.
Lubna Schleikli, Melissa Hawari. Quand les armes à feu sont mises entre les mains d'adolescents. La converse.
Ce sont des enfants qui ont rencontré de mauvaises personnes. Ils se sont fait manipuler, endoctrinés par des plus âgés, alors qu'ils étaient vulnérables, en pleine crise d'adolescence et d'identité. Je n'ai pas encore enterré mon fils.
Tyler Harper. In every Nelson he visits, Jeff Truesdell finds the man he loved. Nelson Starr.
On a rural road during one of the meandering drives they enjoyed taking together, a highway sign prompted Jeff Truesdell to pull over and insist his husband pose for a photo.
Jeff outhit. Everything was a lie. Waterloo Region Record.
Within a month of their first connection, he had sent her just over $58,600. You deserve nothing but the best and to live life with no financial stress, he wrote to her.
Voilà vos 5 finalistes dans la catégorie reportage écrit communautaire. There are your 5 finalists in the community written feature category.
Fantastic finalists, and the silver winner is Leanie Lambrink from CBC North.
Take your time. And the gold winner in community written feature is Tyler Harper from Nelson Star.
Holy shit. I bet I'm from the smallest newsroom here, so this is a. Not, don't worry. Oh, okay. This is a huge honor, and I didn't really think about what to say, except, I like everybody here. I report on all the news things in BC. The drug crisis, affordable housing. This is a love story between two men who were married for decades, and I'm actually really proud that this story won because I feel like we need more stories like this, especially now. Jeff Truesdell, I'll be forever grateful. You know when you get a story and you just know it's the one? This was the one for me. My newsroom is incredible. I've got a really small team, and they are so supportive. My company is so supportive. And my wife and son couldn't be here tonight, but he's trying to qualify for soccer for provincials. But I love them so much, and they're everything to me. So if somebody could quote me on that, that'd be great. Thank you so much.
Les 2 prochaines catégories sont généreusement parrainées par l'organisme Journalist for Human Rights. Sorry, that H is always hard for me. Il s'agit des prix pour le meilleur reportage sur les droits de la personne et le prix pour le ou la journaliste autochtone émergente de l'année.
Our next 2 categories are kindly sponsored by JHR, the Award for Human Rights Reporting, and the Emerging Indigenous Journalist Award. So let's begin with our finalists in the Human Rights Award.
The JHR CAJ Award for Human Rights Reporting. Le prix JHR ACJ pour le reportage sur les droits de la personne. Tamara Pimentel, Beyond the Strip, APTN.
It was found that the hotel owner did not comply with a notice to repair order that was issued 2 months prior in August. It included repairs to showers, toilets, and leaking pipes, holes in walls, and adding doors to washrooms with privacy locks. According to the Health Protection Unit, the owner had completed all necessary repairs, but those issues were all still visible when we were there.
Jessica Owen, lack of support leaves victims of rape more angry, mortified. Collingwood Today.
Following the assault, Cassie has had a lot of time to think while mostly confined to her bedroom. She's kept detailed notes in a yellow journal every day since. In black pen, she's written every person she spoke with, form filled out, or appointment attended that day.
Robert Cribb, Declan Keogh, Wendy Ann Clark, Owen Thompson, Mind Games. Investigative Journalism Bureau, Toronto Star, TVO.
The federal government's reliance on provincial regulatory colleges to vet therapists has made eligible those with spotted histories, while simultaneously excluding many experienced Indigenous counselors who want to serve their communities.
La soumission d'équipe nommée la prison de l'Esprit Saint. Nouveau Info.
À 25 ans, quand tu sors, t'as 6 enfants, t'as jamais travaillé, t'as pas été à l'école. T'es qui? On se questionnait pas, c'était la vérité. Tu fais un péché, ben c'est une claque.
C'est pas grave s'ils sont emprisonnés à la maison, négligés, battus, si ça peut garantir leur endoctrinement.
Toute ma vie était un tissu de mensonges.
J'aurais aimé ça, que j'aille pas à crier à l'aide puis qu'on me sorte de là.
Gabrielle Duchesne, La Maison des Horreurs. La Presse.
Jade avait 3 ans lorsqu'elle a été enlevée à sa mère par la DPJ pour être placée en famille d'accueil. Elle s'est attachée à ses nouveaux parents, elle les appelait même papa et maman. À 9 ans, les agressions ont commencé. Pendant 6 ans, Jade a vécu l'enfer.
Voilà les 5 finalistes dans la catégorie du prix JHR-ACJ pour le reportage sur les droits de la personne. The 5 finalists in the JHR-CAJ Award for Human Rights Reporting.
And yes, I saw that little error in French. It hurts me a little bit, but we'll fix it for next year, Jason.
Keep the tears inside.
GHR couldn't be with us tonight, but they sent along this message from Rachel Pulfer. So turn again towards the screen.
Bonsoir tout le monde. Good evening, everyone. Je m'appelle Rachel Pulfer et je suis la présidente du Journalistes pour les droits humains. My name is Rachel Pulfer and I'm the president of Journalists for Human Rights. C'est un honneur pour moi de vous présenter un prix qui est vraiment au cœur de nos valeurs ici à GDH. I'm honored to present an award that lies at the very heart of what we at JHR stand for. This prize recognizes journalism that puts a human face on injustice, stories that not only expose the violations of human rights, but also hold those in power accountable. Each of the finalists has done exactly that. From stories of systemic failure in child protection, to investigations into unsafe housing, to reports revealing flaws in mental health support for Indigenous communities, these journalists gave a platform to the most vulnerable amongst us and challenged the status quo with courage and compassion. Over 20 years of JHR's work around the world, we have seen time and again that this is the kind of journalism that catalyzes real-life change, making authorities more accountable and people's lives better. Merci à tous et à toutes les finalistes pour votre travail. Your reporting doesn't just inform, it actually makes a difference. Thank you very much.
L'argent pour le prix JHR-ACJ pour les droits humains va à Gabrielle Duchesne de La Presse, qui est sur Zoom, donc des applaudissements, s'il vous plaît.
And Gabrielle is on Zoom, so we'll move on to the gold for human rights reporting, and that goes to Robert Cribb, Declan Keogh, Wendy Ann Clark, and Owen Thompson.
Oh, man, thank you so much. I love the CAJ. I forgot how much I love the CAJ. What a remarkable thing that we still have an organization like this in a country that's keeping together this incredibly frayed industry of ours, bringing us together to remember how important our work is, to bring together truth-telling for a weekend. I just I can't wait to get back to work on Monday and dig in. Let me say, I don't know how judges pick winners in these cases. It's a crapshoot. Like, how do you pick from those? It's ridiculous. So I'm grateful to the judges for picking us, but let's face it, any of these stories are remarkable and award-winning. I want to point out Chris Beaver from TVO is here. This was a remarkable collaborative project, very unique. Our model is, we worked on this for about 2 years. It was impenetrable, a very difficult story to tell. Once we knew we had it, something special. We went to the Star and TVO, who did remarkable video, because we had these amazing heartbeats of this story that were just natural documentary-style interviewees. And so we brought together my little nonprofit investigative center with the biggest newspaper in the country and TVO, and it landed with so much more depth and nuance, and it's because of the kind of collaborative spirit that is only now starting to emerge in this country. Very grateful to our partners and to everyone else who's nominated. Thank you so much. It's a great honor. Thank you.
Okay, on to the finalists for the Emerging Indigenous Journalist.
The JHR CAJ Emerging Indigenous Journalist Award. Le prix JHR ACJ de journaliste autochtone émergent. A portfolio from Odette Auger, APTN News and Windspeaker.
Our climate is rapidly changing into something different. It's like we're witnessing the beginning of the end of our culture. There's an incredible deep grief that's hard to put words to.
Portfolio from Chattis Leo, Czech News.
Bringing elders back to where they grew up is important for the nation because of moments like this.
I want to go home. I want to go home.
Down on the water, optimism for the salmon recovery is strong, but it doesn't come without its own challenges.
Despite significant efforts to help the recovery of every single type of salmon species, excluding pink, in the territory, one challenge still remains for the nation, and that one is climate change.
Un portfolio de Jérôme Gilles Couture, Radio-Canada Info.
Si elle s'intéresse à en apprendre davantage sur les traumatismes et voir comment on peut en guérir, c'est surtout à cause de son histoire familiale.
A portfolio from Crystal Green, Ricochet Media, Indiginews, and Pivot Media.
Kevin Walby, a University of Winnipeg criminal justice professor and researcher, also questioned the validity of Carrick's claim that increased protests have led to an increase in violence towards police by activists.
A portfolio from Joy Spear Chief Morris, Toronto Star.
Laura Arndt has cried at the table with residential school survivors while they receive documents that some have been awaiting for 70 years. For some survivors, it's a promise they wish to see fulfilled before they died.
There are your 5 finalists in the JHR CAJ Emerging Indigenous Journalist Award. Voilà vos 5 finalistes dans le prix JHR ACJ de journalistes autochtones émergents.
And before we announce those winners, we have another video from JHR, so here is Amara Bangura.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Amara Bangura, and I'm the Director of Operations at Journalists for Human Rights. I am honored to join you virtually from Nairobi, in Kenya, for a cause that's very close to our hearts, recognizing the outstanding work of Indigenous journalists. The CAJ, Journalists for Human Rights, and Emerging Indigenous Journalist Award is part of our long-standing commitment to supporting Indigenous voices in Canadian media. At JHR, we believe that strong journalism reflects the diversity of the communities it serves. That's why we continue working to build and strengthen pathways into the profession for Indigenous youths, helping to diversify newsrooms in Canada and ensure more inclusive coverage. Tonight, we celebrate not only the award winners, but all the finalists, Odette, Chaduz, Jeremy, Crystal, and Joy. Your portfolios are a remarkable accomplishment in and of themselves, and a testament to your passion and talent. Congratulations to each of you, and thank you for the vital work you do.
The JHR CAJ Emerging Indigenous Journalist Silver Award goes to Crystal Green, who reported for Ricochet Media, Indiginews, and Pivot Media. Crystal couldn't make it here tonight, so I'll hand it over to you for the gold.
And the gold winner is Chattis Leo from Czech News.
Okay, I got it here. Okay. Thank you so much, merci beaucoup. It's a pleasure to be here with all of you. I'll try and get this in under a minute 30 and try and keep myself focused. You know, a lot of these stories that I do take a lot of time, and sometimes it looks, you know, on Instagram or on social media, it looks glorious and fun. You know, I try and make it look enjoyable, and it is, but it's not easy. You know, these stories are difficult. They're emotional, like I am right now. And, you know, they're filled moments of sadness, anger, regret, hope, all of the feelings that we experience as a human. You know, and the weight of these stories can be heavy. But, you know, my duty as a journalist is to find that strength to lift up these voices and these stories to give them the airtime that they deserve. You know, for long in this country, we've, I normally don't tremble this much when I talk. Obviously, you just saw. But, you know, for too long in this country, I'm going to try it again. We have only told Indigenous stories filled a lot of the time filled stories with biases, racism, misinformation, and lack of cultural sensitivity. So myself, and along with all of you in this room and those watching, you know, we have a responsibility to change that narrative and be a part of, you know, this country's reconciliation legacy. I want to thank the Canadian Association of Journalists for this award. I do want to thank everybody at Czech News and Czech Media, especially Rob Germain, April Lawrence, Joe Perkins. I also want to thank my family. I told my pregnant wife 5 years ago that I was going to go to journalism school, and we didn't know that there wasn't one on Vancouver Run, so I left my family for 2 years to go to Burnaby. And anyways, it was worth it. It was worth it. Thank you. Anyways, I'm almost done, but yes, thank you to my wife, my family, and to Chief Judy Thomas and the Dididat First Nation for welcoming me. Thank you so much.
So heartfelt. Reminds us, you know, why we do what we do. When I told my dad I was going to journalism school, he said, "You sure you don't want to be a doctor?" We're going to move on to our next category now.
The CWA Canada CAJ Award for Labor Reporting. Le prix SCA Canada ACJ pour les reportages sur le secteur travail. David Witcher. Vietnamese migrant workers rescued. 93.3 The Peak CJAV FM, Port Alberni.
Kim Tran, a local Vietnamese woman who's trying to help the workers, describes their plight.
This one, the worse than animal. They don't have a drink. They don't have anything like for the human being. This one, the worst. I never seen people live like this in Vietnam.
Anusha Siddiqui. Exploited in the workplace. The Canadian dream turns into a nightmare for international students. Investigative Journalism Foundation.
On the 11th day when Augustine reached the pizza shop, the owner told him to leave. He had worked nearly 120 hours in 10 days for nothing.
Natalia Rivero Gomez, reporting on working conditions in the Temporary Foreign Worker Program. The Rover.
Being a temporary foreign worker sometimes means being isolated. When Regis is not working or talking to his family, he watches videos on social media in his room. Some weekends, he rides his bike to the river and watches people fishing in their boats.
Zach Vachera. Poisoned Waters. The war between BC Ferries and its union. The Tai.
For months, BC Ferries and the BC Ferry and Marine Workers Union had tried to negotiate a wage hike they both agreed was needed to end an exodus of staff. But instead of reaching a deal, the rift has widened.
Emma Arkell. Canadian teachers face harassment in wake of parental rights policies. Extra magazine.
They say bright colors and a little bit of makeup were a normal part of their work attire. But now, Taylor says showing up as their authentic self feels more dangerous.
There are your 5 finalists in the CWA Canada CAJ Award for Labor Reporting. Voilà les 5 finalistes du prix SCA Canada ACJ pour les reportages sur le secteur travail.
Et le prix pour les reportages sur le secteur travail est parrainé par SCA Canada, le syndicat des communications d'Amérique. Et Brent Jolly, notre président à la CAJ, va nous dire quelques mots.
Bonsoir tout le monde. Malheureusement, nos commanditaires de SCA Canada ne pourraient pas être ici ce soir, mais ils m'ont demandé de dire quelques mots dans leur place. I think this is an incredible category, and I think having CWA step up year after year and represent the CAJ with this award, and also at this conference as a sponsor. Cette année, ils sont notre commanditaire platine. They're a platinum sponsor for our conference this year, and I think it's just an incredible contribution. And there's some amazing kick-ass journalism in this category, and I wish the winner the best of luck in this. And because there's an exception to every rule, CWA cut a check, just so you know. And I also just showed the winner.
Oh. Did anyone catch it?
Oh. Maybe you didn't see, though. Maybe you didn't see. Nobody saw. Good.
Well, we'll start with the silver winner, which is Emma Arkel from Extra Magazine.
Congratulations to Emma. And the gold winner for the CWA Labor Reporting Award is Natalia Rivero Gomez from The Rover.
Oh my God. Wow. 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 This is, I don't even know what to say. I'm so moved. This was my first job as a journalist after I came from Colombia. Thank you so much. Thank you, Chris. Thank you. I want to thank Chris Curtis for this amazing opportunity, for believing in me, even though I haven't even worked as a journalist here in Canada. I'm an immigrant. I arrived a year and a half ago, and actually I thought I was going to be a journalist in like 5 years after I came here. So this is huge. Thank you, CAJ. Thank you. I want to thank my parents. I want to thank my partner. I want to thank, I don't know, this is amazing. And thank you so much.
If we can vote in like a colleague, I would like the gentleman in the orange shirt to be part of my crew. Okay, I need you around at all times to bring up the energy.
This brings us to our final General Excellence category. C'est le moment de la catégorie finale d'excellence en journalisme.
The Environmental and Climate Change Award. Le prix pour la couverture des changements climatiques et de l'environnement. Danielle Parody, Mark Blackburn, Jesse Andrushko. The Place That Thaws. APTN News.
So the issues for the bears in the high Arctic are not the same as what we see further south, where some stranded bears are starving. Still, spending more time on shore is unhealthy for the bears, and it leads to lower birth rates. Here, the community has learned to coexist with the bears and monitors the population.
The team entry titled Eyes of the Beast, Climate Disaster Survivor Stories. Climate Disaster Project in New World Theatre.
We just don't see heat stroke in BC. I've never seen it in my career. I'm sure people have seen really severe heat exhaustion, which is very different from heat stroke. Heat stroke means that the cooling systems in your body have all malfunctioned. You are basically cooking inside out. People were coming in with 40, 41, 42 degrees. This is not conducive to life because we are all water. Your cells will start to die and pop. People were coming in without a pulse, already dead.
Jen Thornhill Verma, Johnny C.Y. Lamb, Murat Yüksler, Melissa Tate, Claire Vandermeersch. Labrador Inuit are taking the fight against climate change into their own hands. The Globe and Mail.
Arctic sea ice routes are a vital connector for Labrador Inuit peoples. As the ice begins to melt, old traditions fuse with innovation to fight climate change.
Ainsley Cruikshank. A portrait of pollution around Canada's busiest port. The Narwhal.
Although the contamination from industry and surrounding cities is largely hidden beneath the water surface, it's had severe consequences.
Gilbert Bégin, Julien Robert. Le bœuf musqué à la conquête de Nunavik. Radio-Canada Info.
La dernière au bout, là. Non, des bêtes.
Voilà vos 5 finalistes dans le prix pour la couverture des changements climatiques et de l'environnement. There are your 5 finalists in the Environment and Climate Change Award.
Oh, that was exciting. Okay, the silver winning entry goes to a first entry of its kind. It was the theatrical production of verbatim journalism interviews, Eyes of the Beast, Climate Disaster Survivor Stories. And they are on Zoom watching and hopefully celebrating at home.
And the gold goes to the whole team at the Globe and Mail.
We've got Thornhill Verma here to accept the award.
And they say reporters have no heart, eh? And no emotions.
I want to especially thank my colleague Johnny Lamb, whose mother passed away recently. As a freelance reporter, to be able to report in the field with someone I'd never met. We'd never met before, and now he is my brother from another mother. Again, as a freelance reporter, I have never felt more supported by a team. Everybody who you heard and more who contributed to this project is why it was possible. I also really want to thank the people in Nunatsiavut who shared with us their stories. Knowledge keeper Joey Agnetuk put it best when he said that thank you. I needed that. I needed the pressure to be off. Thank you, Jason. Thank you, CAJ. Sorry, I just have to say this. Joey Agnetuk said to me, when the ice is strong, Inuit are strong. And I will say that that comment set the bar for this coverage because we had to show, in locally relevant terms, what was at stake. We had 3 sea ice weakening stories in this category, not by accident. And are you okay? Just thank you so much. This is the honor of a lifetime. Amazing category to be in. Thank you to my fellow nominees. And you know what? I just hope that this paves a road to be able to do more great reporting. Thank you.
You know you're a great journalist when you can literally knock people off their feet, right? With your
And the lights.
storytelling. Yeah. Sorry, Jason. We had to.
And no, he's not drunk. That's not why he got a glass of water. Not yet. But if you want to buy him a drink,
he might need
sure he'll
one.
accept. C'est maintenant notre plaisir d'inviter encore une fois le président de l'Association canadienne des journalistes au podium, Brent Joly.
Wow, I don't really know what to think right now. That's such a moving couple of moments there. Well, I hope everybody's having a good time. Thank you all very much for making the time to be here this evening, to celebrate amongst us with friends, colleagues, maybe frenemies, and about some kick-ass journalism over the past year. And just for the record, just so you know, you've probably got about 5 minutes in case you want to go get a beer before the awards are presented. I'm going to take the liberty of being, you know, this guy who gives you a little bit of an overview of sort of the year and leads you into the Bury speech. So I apologize in advance. But it's a real kick to be in Calgary here for the first time, and it certainly, I can tell you, won't be the last. I, of course, want everybody to know that this event this evening doesn't happen by accident, not at all. Although it may look flawless, except when Jason falls off the stage. Really, I don't know what to say to that. He has been so dedicated that he hasn't slept for 4 months, just so you know. Yeah, I don't know. We have a great steering committee for this event, and I want to just put the spotlight back on Jason for a second here, because the spotlight's still on his hair from where I can stand. See, Jason, as you know, he's our local co-chair. He's an Alberta transplant, but by now I think he could probably call himself a pretty established local. And I really want to thank him. This is his night. This is his vision and his passion. And I feel like I say this every year, but I still think it's true every year about how infectious his passion is for awards and supporting journalists and journalistic excellence. So please, I hope you give it a round of applause for Jason. L'autre personne que je voulais saluer, c'est notre directeur d'opération, Monique Durette. Elle est originaire d'Alberta, mais elle maintenant s'est déménagée à Nouveau-Brunswick, alors think of that way you will. Si je devrais choisir un mot pour décrire la contribution de Monique au ACJ, j'utiliserai le mot inestimable. Monique va toujours au-delà de ce qu'on s'attend d'elle, et pour cela, nous lui devons à tous une immense reconnaissance. Merci Monique. Je tiens également à remercier Emilia Fournier, qui est coordinatrice de programme de la CAJ, ainsi que Colin Gallant, qui sont installés discrètement au fond, quelque part, du salle, pour garantir que ceux et celles qui n'ont pas l'opportunité d'être avec nous ce soir puissent nous joindre sur Zoom. I also wanted to take a minute to thank the Delta Hotel staff. This has been an incredibly seamless conference. And when you don't see anything go wrong, that means the staff is doing an incredible job. And I just want to make sure that they're recognized for their contribution to this weekend. And our volunteers. We wouldn't be able to do this without our volunteers who help make sure things stay on time, who register people, who answer questions, who direct people to bathrooms, who do anything and everything to make sure this conference experience goes well. Thank you guys. It's really a huge contribution. Every year, this event inspires me to keep going. As you all know, the CAJ is run by volunteers. We all have other jobs that are hopefully paid. We aren't paid a red penny, even though those don't exist anymore, for what we do. And everything we do is because we care. We give a shit about journalism. I don't say this self-servingly whatsoever. It's quite the opposite. I say it's because in my mind, there's no other organization quite like the CAJ. I'm so proud to work alongside so many amazing journalists who give their time, who give a damn, and who want to give back. That sentiment is at the heart of a new program we just launched with the CAJ and many others called the Canadian News Media Peer Support Network. And it's a project to assist well-being and media workers across the country. Our focus is helping colleagues, and that's a covenant I hold sacred. Tonight, we're celebrating awards, we're celebrating wins. But tomorrow, and the day after, will bring new challenges and obstructions. Our world order is changing, and we're not going to go back to how they were. I just want you to know, though, that even though things are changing, the CAJ always has your back. We're here. We don't do the job, bless you. We don't just do the job we do because it's the right thing to do, but because doing journalism and telling truth in these extraordinary times is something that's coming increasingly under attack. S'il vous plaît, regardez autour de vous. Il ne faut pas besoin de plisser les yeux pour voir les effets indéniables de la guerre contre la vérité. Des menaces juridiques et des risques pour la sécurité sont de plus en plus fréquentes pour ceux qui osent dire la vérité au pouvoir. Around the world, we're seeing more and more harassment, targeted intimidation campaigns, particularly against women journalists, journalists of color, and those seeking to silence critical voices. Around the world, we're seeing rhetoric spewed from bully pulpits to put journalists in the crosshairs. And that's not hyperbole. It's an undeniable statement of fact, particularly in many places, like Gaza, where journalists have been targeted, systematically erased in devastating and unfathomable proportions. Crimes against journalists have gone from headlines to trend lines. And the longer we look away or shrug our collective shoulders, the more and more these new norms will be allowed to be legitimized by those in positions of power. Journalists are risking their lives in 2025. Et puisque nous sommes à Calgary ce soir, nous ne pourrons pas prendre la parole sans souligner la mémoire de Michelle Justine Lang. In 2009, Michelle was reporting for the Calgary Herald from Afghanistan when an armored vehicle she was riding in struck a roadside bomb. She died from her injuries. She was the first Canadian to die in the war of Afghanistan. Her legacy, however, and her commitment to the craft still continues to this day with the Michelle Lang Fellowship. As I look across this evening, everybody here, I see journalists representing many different interests, different specialties, all kinds of talents. And while we might have our collective differences and probably rarely ever agree on anything, which is fine, we're connected right now in this very moment because we mutually share in a passion and an affliction that we call journalism. There's a quote that I've often thought about over the last little while as the world has descended into chaos. It's attributed to Winston Churchill, and he says, or is quoted as attributed as saying, "If you're going through hell, keep going." You know, I think that's a clarion call for our times right now. Remember to strive. Remember to persevere. And to find meaning when you look at yourself in the mirror every single morning. Journalism might seem like a lonely endeavor, and trust me, I know. But you're seen, you're appreciated. So please keep going. It's my hope in presenting this year's Burry Award that you'll all take inspiration from 3 outstanding journalists who are being recognized tonight. Each one of them has exhibited incredible levels of courage and determination to strive and persevere through unprecedented challenges. Now, I bet you want to find out who I'm talking about, right? Alors, drum roll, please. Kim Bolin. Kim, you've been working as a journalist since I was in diapers. And I hope that doesn't make you feel too old, but it's the truth. Now that's fact-checked. There you go. Kim is Canadian journalism's ultimate badass. She's reported internationally for the Vancouver Sun from places like El Salvador, Guatemala, Afghanistan. She's covered the Air India story from the night it happened on June 23rd, 1985. She's written about how the bombers got away with murder. That's a book title. You can buy it, just so you know. And she shone a spotlight on a long list of minority, women's, education, and social services issues. Over the past 40 years, Kim's had numerous threats made on her life from gangs and militant groups. And yet here she is tonight. Her commitment to the craft has continued. In 2017, Kim wrote a story in the Vancouver Sun about a plot to murder her that she learned about, and she wrote about it. See what I'm telling you? Badass. When I told Kim that she was being selected as one of this year's Bury winners at the NNAs in Montreal this year, I don't know, for some reason she seemed genuinely surprised. I don't know why. But frankly, I think being recognized with this award is long, long overdue. Every fiber of Kim's being represents courage and fearlessness. And those qualities are what makes her admired by so many of her colleagues and clearly so many people in this room. Kim's one of a kind. She really inspires me. And I hope she inspires you too. Everybody, please let's welcome Kim Boland.
You guys, you don't want to make me cry again. It's been that kind of weekend, amazing highs and a few lows, mostly reflecting on the stories that we all care so much about. So this is really an honor. I was shocked when he said this to me in Montreal, and I think he had to let me know because I hadn't bought a Banquet ticket. So it's like, oh, you better show up, right? So anyway, I am old. I've been around so long that I knew Charles when he was a fixture at CAJ. Hey, I was here when it was called the Center for Investigative Journalism. We had a huge fight over changing the name. That's how privileged we were at the time, because we could argue over things that weren't all that important in the end. Charles was also a huge supporter of local journalism. It's great to see so many local journalists here doing amazing work. Anyway, this means more to me than other things people have handed me because it's coming from my peers. You know, you have my back, I have your backs too. Looking through the list of people who've won this, I see many of my journalist heroes. Some of them are here. Dave, Mackay, Rob, Cribb, Julian Scher, who's not here. But I really want to highlight one person on that list. He was the 1999 recipient. His name is Tara Singh Hare. He was a colleague of mine, and he was a friend. We shared many death threats in the year before he was assassinated on November 18th, 1998. When we first started getting threats, he was used to them. I was new to them. I had young kids. I was like, geez, what do we do here? And he said to me, don't be afraid, and never stop the reporting, even when you're threatened. It's something that has guided me over the last 27 years, even when the stories get tough and the threats keep coming. I would love someday to see his killers charged. I think it's a real blight on the judicial system in Canada that no one has been charged for the only assassination of a journalist on Canadian soil for the work that he was doing, primarily on the Air India bombing. I'm also just so inspired. This, I think, is the best CAJ conference I've ever been at, and I'm not saying that because I'm getting a prize. But I mean, I have heard so many inspirational stories from such a range of journalists, small town, big city, people that have investigative teams, people that are working off the side of their desks on projects, you know, young journalists. Chad, met you yesterday, like, you know, unbelievable. I also love that CAJ is owned by the workers. It's really great. So you guys have really inspired me this weekend. out the incredible work that you've done over the last year. And I just want to say to you, never stop reporting, even when the stories get tough. Thank you very much for this.
I just want to say, for anybody who wasn't here for the conference, you really should come back to the conference next year. Don't just buy a ticket to the awards gala, but also come to the conference. And you know why? Because we had a kick-ass team of co-chairs, Jason Markusoff and Julie Sobowale this year. Please give it up for them. Alors, à la suite, notre deuxième lauréat du prix de Charles Bury a vécu une année, pour moi, remarquable. En novembre 2024, un article publié dans la presse a fait un effet d'une bombe au sein de la classe politique québécoise. On y apprenait que le journaliste Daniel Renault avait été visé par un contrat d'assassinat commandité par le crime organisé. L'article révélait que les détails choquants de la manière dont, en 2021, un prime de 100 000 $ avait été placé sur la tête de Daniel par un monsieur nommé Frédéric Silva, un tueur professionnel devenu informeur de la police. À l'époque, Daniel couvrait le procès de M. Silva pour 3 meurtres pour la presse. Il a manqué seulement un jour de travail après des révélations. Et aussi, ces révélations de cette histoire ont été un véritable électrochoc et devraient glacer le sang de tous les journalistes au pays. L'expérience de Daniel est riche d'enseignements. Il a fait preuve d'un courage exceptionnel dans les circonstances parmi des plus difficiles. Il n'a pas cédé à la pression, même lorsque sa vie était menacée. Il a su garder la tête froide et poursuivre sa mission, mettre en lumière les zones d'ombre de notre société et du crime organisé. C'est du courage testé, un courage confirmé. Le leadership de Daniel nous rappelle une chose essentielle. Son parcours est preuve vivante que même dans un monde fragmenté, le journalisme a encore toute sa place. Le pouvoir de la plume pour dire la vérité, exposer les injustices et faire d'œuvre de justice est une démarche cruciale au bon fonctionnement de notre société. Merci, Monsieur Daniel Renault, pour le travail exceptionnel en face de l'adversité.
Merci tout le monde. Merci beaucoup, Brent. Merci à l'association. Merci aussi à ma famille, à ma femme, à ma fille, qui n'en savaient rien. Et c'est ça qui a été le plus difficile dans tout ça, c'est leur annoncer ça. J'ai toujours fait attention à ce que j'écris. Quand j'écris sur le crime organisé, je fais toujours attention et j'ai toujours pensé que c'était pour moi une protection. Mais maintenant, ça n'existe plus, cette protection-là. Lorsque des adolescents de 17 ans ont des armes à feu, lorsque des individus continuent à donner des contrats de meurtre à partir de prison, parce qu'ils ont des téléphones cellulaires dans leurs cellules et qu'eux-mêmes ont été condamnés pour meurtre, sont déjà condamnés à la prison à vie et n'ont plus rien à perdre, ben, c'est le danger qui guette tous les journalistes qui couvrent le crime organisé ou les affaires policières aujourd'hui. Je vais vous dire quelques petits mots en anglais. My English is not very good. I'm not perfect bilingual, but I wrote something. It was because I was simply doing my job that a hitman put a contract on me in the fall of 2021 simply because I was covering his trial and he didn't like it. Despite the fact that the police notified me a year later, I continued to do my job, and I even wrote an article that helped the hitman to find a liar, because I consider that a hitman who had put himself at the service of justice and was struggling to find a liar was a matter of public interest. That's how I learned my trade, by remaining neutral and objective despite my opinions and feelings. While disinformation is a threat to democracy, journalists must continue to report the facts objectively. It's up to readers, viewers, and listeners to form their own opinion. Thank you very much. Merci beaucoup.
Merci beaucoup de cet honneur. Tu peux aller par là. Tu peux prendre une photo. Oui, merci. Okay, we've got one more. Anybody want to guess who the next person is? Come on, we could start a raffle. No? Okay. The final journalist I wanted to acknowledge this evening is someone who's made a career of mining for answers in the barren wasteland of Orwellian doublespeak. David Pugliese is only one of a handful of journalists in Canada who regularly cover one of our country's most secretive government departments, the DND, Department of National Defense, or whatever the hell it's called now. Despite 4 decades of dealing daily with masters of misdirection, David has carved out an absolutely remarkable career, not just only speaking truth to power, but giving power to the truth. He's got the battle scars to prove it. Last fall, unfortunately, David had some preposterous allegations levied against him by a former Conservative cabinet minister named Chris Alexander. You're likely familiar with the story, but just in case you're not, here's a little refresher. Late last October, while the House of Commons committee was meeting to undertake a study on Russian interference and disinformation campaigns in Canada, Mr. Alexander declared somehow, for some reason, under the guise of parliamentary privilege, that David had been a paid KGB agent since the 1980s. Preposterous. Mr. Alexander, of course, has never repeated those claims absent the cloak of privilege. To me, these allegations were nothing short of a McCarthy-esque smear job. But what it does show us is a change in tactics. Rather than question the accuracy of a deeply reported investigative story, domestic and transnational interests now attack journalist credibility. So if you can't refute the truth, then the next best course of action is to attack the messenger. I know David, and I know these are bald-faced lies and that they've hurt him and his family. They continue to threaten his security. And yet, like any good journalist, I know he eschews the opportunity to be the center of a story. And I know he would much rather have his reporting speak for itself. And that's why I'm hoping he'll grant me this one moment of forgiveness or forbearance for turning the spotlight on him again. If David's guilty of anything, it's for being a habitual thorn in the side of those in power who has never shied away from digging in the darkest corners of Canada's military establishment. Just as Leonard Cohen sang in Anthem, there's a crack in everything, and that's how the light gets in. Bringing order to chaos, ladies and gentlemen, isn't a crime. It's actually a sign of a job well done. And David Pugliese is a damn fine journalist, if I do say so myself.
Thank you. Thanks so much for this recognition. When I first talked to Brent about this award, he discussed that the idea was to highlight perseverance in journalism. So I had a chance to reflect back on my 42 years of being on the job. And over that course, I've done about 10,000 stories, mainly on government corruption, sexual assault, wrongdoing in the military, waste of billions of dollars on military equipment projects. Our family has endured 4:30 a.m. phone calls from military police demanding, who my sources are. In 2013, I was put under a military police investigation after a senior official in the defense minister's office falsely claimed I had published classified information. After a 2-month investigation, police concluded that the data I published was from a news release. I have been accused of being a CIA agent. When I covered the Taliban, or when I covered the Afghan war, the conservatives said I was a Taliban sympathizer. As Brent pointed out, the latest attempt to stop my reporting comes from a former conservative cabinet minister and anonymous Canadian Forces officers who have falsely claimed that I have been a deep cover Russian spy for 42 years. And of course, Chris Alexander made those comments under parliamentary privilege. He can't be sued. If those claims aren't ridiculous enough, some of those associated with this fabrication also allege that I play hockey for the Russian embassy hockey team. This is a true story. This is despite the fact I can't skate and I've never played hockey. In the 1990s, I was put on an execution list created by former soldiers in the Canadian Airborne Regiment. That was because of my reporting on the torture and murder of a Somali man at the hands of Canadian paratroopers. Now I am on an execution list put together by Ukrainian far-right extremists. We are in a war, and that war is against journalism. Reporters are the targets. This has nothing to do with whether your reporting is accurate. It has everything to do with stopping you from reporting. It involves false claims made against your journalism, that you are somehow on the payroll of a political party, that because your news organization is biased, you can't be trusted, you should be defunded, or that you're working for a government, foreign government. I'd like to thank the CAJ for standing with me during my parliamentary rebuttal and during these ongoing attacks. I'd also like to recognize Kim and Dan for their exceptional work. I'd also like to salute the people in this room and in newsrooms across the country, particularly young journalists. This is a profession, for the most part, doesn't pay a lot of money, and the abuse is unrelenting and at times dangerous. The fact that journalists continue to persevere in such an environment gives me hope for the future. Thank you.
So before we get back to the ceremony, I just want to explain myself, by the way, in case you're wondering. I'm fine. Do I seem fine? I can do the walk. No, I misjudged where the edge of the stage was, and I worry they're not going to, CBC's not going to let me keep my standing desk if anybody tells, so please be sure. Brent neglected to thank somebody, and I get why, because it's Brent. It's not appreciated by much of Canada that he is the first Canadian to have been cloned. I mean, it must be, because I don't know how he does everything he does for this organization. And he's a volunteer like all of us, yes. It is incredible. He is such a passionate, incredible advocate for press freedom and the rights of journalists and defending what we do and how we do it. And he has that remarkable knack that very few journalists do. He has a sense, that's very important for us now, a sense of revenue. He has worked with so many sponsors and bring partnerships to CAJ, which makes us able to keep our prices where they are. Wish they could be lower, but we've brought in a lot of support for this organization. He fights, he is tireless, he makes everything fit, everything work. If any of us have problems, he leaps in at all hours to do it. So I'd like everybody to help me appreciate the incredible work of our president, Brent Jolly. And on with the show. I'd like to bring Joelle and Tiffany back up, please. Thank you.
That was great. Thank you. Where are we at? Okay. All right, that was wonderful. Really inspiring. Love all the speeches. Love seeing what we aspire to. I'm not a young journalist. I see the young journalists in the room, but it's so nice to be reminded of why we do what we do. So thank you to everyone here. On to our 8 investigative categories. They represent this program's legacy of recognizing the best investigative journalism produced by Canadian journalists working in either official language.
These are for the journalism that people in power are afraid of if they want secrets to stay in the dark.
If they don't really think you deserve to know how they are funded.
And if they rather everyone just be that dog or that Jason in the meme drinking coffee saying, "This is fine."
We know that meme, right? The dog with the coffee, the flames behind us. Yeah, so let's hear it for the journalists who say, "No, wait, there's fire all around you, little dog." Stop drinking coffee and run, and let's all raise our glasses. I don't have my glass here, but join me in this, to those who obtained documents and can report that the dog's coffee shop was operating without a business license and had not had a fire safety inspection since opened thanks to municipal cutbacks. All right, let's get started with the first investigative category, which is written news.
The written news category. La catégorie de nouvelles écrites. Grant Robertson, Catherine Blaise Baum, The Algorithm, The Globe and Mail.
In a pivotal shift, the Canadian Food Inspection Agency placed its faith in an algorithm that decided which facilities would be inspected closely and which would receive little or no scrutiny at all. But the algorithm was flawed.
Nicolas de Rosa, Jeff Yates. Le Canada, cible numéro 1 des fraudeurs internationaux. Radio-Canada Info.
Rien de tout ça n'est vrai. Les données sur le tableau de bord ne sont qu'un écran de fumée. Les conseillers financiers sont en fait des arnaqueurs professionnels. Leurs clients sont leurs victimes. Et chaque dollar qu'ils investissent aboutit dans la poche de réseaux criminels.
Gada Al-Sharif. I went undercover as an Uber Eats courier. The Toronto Star.
I worked as an Uber Eats courier for 6 weeks. I wanted to understand the costs behind the convenience of app-based delivery and gain insight into how gig work is evolving as algorithms call the shots. After my first 20 hours on the app, I made just $28.98.
Wendy Gillis, Jennifer Pagliaro. The Invisible Girl. Toronto Star.
A critical fact went unsaid as Nevaeh was identified to the world. Far from a mystery child, Nevaeh had, for most of her life, been in the care of the province's child protection agencies. She was far from untraceable.
Jeff Hamilton, Katrina Clark. Building Blocks, Crumbling Foundation. Winnipeg Free Press.
Among the systemic issues plaguing childcare in Manitoba is an inability to provide adequate care to children with special needs, and it provides limited access to care in rural and northern regions.
Those are the 5 finalists in the written news category. Ceci les 5 finalistes dans la catégorie de nouvelles écrites.
And in this category, we have 2 silver winners. The first is Grant Robertson and Catherine Blaise Baum from the Globe and Mail. And they're with us on Zoom.
They are on Zoom. And the second is Wendy Gillis and Jennifer Paliero from the Toronto Star, also on Zoom. And winning gold in written news is Jeff Hamilton and Katrina Clark from the Winnipeg Free Press.
And Jeff is with us.
Wow. I almost didn't write a speech. First, I want to extend my, my deepest gratitude to the Canadian Association of Journalists and to the judges for this incredible honor. To be recognized by my peers, by people who understand the painstaking effort that goes into investigative journalism is truly humbling. Thank you for seeing the value in this work and for acknowledging its importance. To my fellow nominees in this category, your work is nothing short of incredible. Each of these investigations nominated stands as a testament to the power of impactful journalism, and it's a privilege just to be mentioned in the same breath as your incredible work and reporting. Congratulations for all your achievements. I also want to acknowledge my brilliant teammate, Katrina Clark, who unfortunately can't be here tonight. She's off on maternity leave and doing some well-deserved traveling, but she wanted me to convey how incredibly proud she is of the work that we did together. This investigation wouldn't have been possible without the dozens of people who spoke with us. They trusted us with their stories, with their deepest insights, and in some cases, their raw pain. To the family who shared in painstaking detail the story of their young daughter, your courage and your vulnerability allowed us to shed light on critical issues. And to the individuals who took time out of their busy lives, some even traveling to Thompson, Manitoba to sit with me and share their experiences. Thank you. Your voices are the heart of this story. I'm incredibly fortunate to work at the Winnipeg Free Press. I want to express my sincere thanks to our publisher, Mike Power, and our editor-in-chief, Paul Simin, for trusting me to embark on this extensive work and for providing me the time and resources necessary to do it impactfully. You need people, the right people at the top, people who will champion and protect investigative journalism to truly make a difference. I feel lucky to have that leadership at the Winnipeg Free Press. I want to give a very special thank you to Associate Editor Scott Gibbons. Scott's unwavering support and your truly exceptional investigative mind were instrumental in bringing these stories to life. You are a true gem in Canadian journalism, and we are so incredibly lucky to have you at the paper. Here's to many more investigations together. Let's keep doing this. On a more personal note, I want to thank my partner, Delara. This work isn't easy. It takes a toll not just on the journalists, but often on those closest to them. Delara, your unwavering support, your understanding, and your patience are what allow me to do this work. I wouldn't be able to do it without you. Last thing, I want to take a moment to talk about why we do this, why we pour ourselves into these often difficult, sometimes heartbreaking investigations. Investigative journalism is more crucial now than ever. It is how we hold power to account. It is how we shine a light into the darkest corners. It is how we give voice to the voiceless. We see fewer and fewer newsrooms able to commit to this kind of in-depth work, and that's a genuine concern for our democracy. But to those newsrooms that are still doing it, to the journalists in this room and beyond who are still fighting the good fight, I applaud you. This work isn't easy. It demands sacrifice, resilience, and often a really good cry when you get home. But we love it. We are driven by a profound belief in its importance. And every single story that uncovers injustice, that prompts change, makes all the struggle worthwhile. Finally, I want to thank everyone at this conference for making it such a fantastic weekend. To all the speakers, thank you for your incredible insights and informative presentations. To the organizers, facilitating an event this scale is no small feat, and you've done an outstanding job. And to all the volunteers, without your tireless efforts, this weekend simply could not happen. Thank you for making this community vibrant. And thank you for supporting the critical work we do. Thank you. Merci beaucoup.
La prochaine catégorie d'enquête est le prix Hugo Rodriguez pour médias communautaires. It is named after a longtime awards administrator who stepped aside this year, but you're still seeing his handiwork and hearing his voice in these videos in both languages. Can you give us a wave of applause for Hugo?
The Hugo Rodriguez Award for Community News. Le prix Hugo Rodriguez pour les médias communautaires. Michelle Allen. Families in Thunder Bay accuse landlord of illegally shutting power. Threats. CBC, Thunder Bay.
Multiple Thunder Bay renters say the same landlord has shut off their power, failed to make repairs, and threatened them. Advocates say more needs to be done to protect people from landlords who repeatedly violate housing laws.
Heather Wright, York 1 Environmental, the Independent of Petrolia and Central Lambton.
Chatham-Kent staff and politicians were meeting with representatives from York 1 Environmental in 2019, years before the Mississauga company shocked Dresden residents with plans to expand the former Dresden dump. When the plan came to light, Chatham-Kent's mayor said they had no idea what was to come.
Stephanie Crozier, Kingston Courthouse's security disaster waiting to happen. Kingston Whig Standard.
The courthouses in Kingston are a security disaster waiting to happen. The problem is, if it happens, no one is going to be able to say they didn't see it coming.
Wency Lung. GFL says it's green for life. Its neighbors disagree. The Local.
Over and over, residents living near GFL's facilities who spoke with me characterized the company as a bad neighbor that seems to have little regard for their community's air, water, and land.
Jessica Lee. Grizzly bears back in crosshairs. The Rocky Mountain Outlook.
Alberta's government is allowing targeted hunts on problem grizzly bears after a nearly 20-year ban on hunting the threatened species.
These are your 5 finalists in the Hugo Rodriguez Award for Community News. Voici vos 5 finalistes dans le prix Hugo Rodriguez pour les médias communautaires.
And the silver winner is Jessica Lee from the Rocky Mountain Outlook, based in Canmore, Alberta, and she's here with us. Et le prix d'or pour le prix Hugo Rodriguez pour médias communautaires goes to Heather Wright from the Independent of Petrolia and Central Lambton in Southwest Ontario.
I feel really inadequate standing here after listening to the Burry Award winners. I'm just in awe of what you do. Thank you very much to my peers who saw this work as deserving of this. I really appreciate it. Community newspapers, you know, I sometimes feel like we don't get a lot of credit, so thank you, Hugo, for recognizing how important these small papers are. And, you know, I kind of want to sound the alarm bell too, because there's a lot of people that are working in community news right now who are getting up there in age, and their moms and pops running their local paper, and there's no one to take their place. And it's going to create a really big void in the Canadian news landscape, because, you know, the larger papers just can't cover these stories anymore. And when these community papers go, there's going to be a lot of governments who can do whatever they want and never be found out. And I hope that we as a group of journalists can raise attention to that and to direct young people who want a job in journalism to these small outlets so that we can continue to tell the stories in these small communities. Thank you.
Thank you so much. On to our next category.
The Broadcast Over 5 Minutes category. La catégorie Reportage parlé de plus de 5 minutes. Brittany Guillot, Tom Fenario. Food for Profit. APTN investigates.
I know, even here, like, nowadays, to shop $100, it's just a little bikeful.
Right, yeah.
Yeah, before I can fill up the cart before.
But for Omond and everybody else, those days are over.
I usually get the lowest price I can find.
Okay.
Because you have to kind of economize.
$9.97.
Yeah.
Mark Kelly, Timothy Sawa, Lisa Ellenwood, Loretta Hicks. Dawson Creek, we want our town back. CBC News, the Fifth Estate.
How can someone who's never been there just disappear?
That's the question.
2 months into Cole's disappearance, his mother Julie says the RCMP stopped communicating.
When I was calling the RCMP and I was not getting any responses from them, I finally lost my mind and made a Facebook post and tagged the BC RCMP.
The RCMP are failing Cole. They're failing me, and they're failing the community, she posted. It's been over 15 days since I've heard from them. I am done being silent.
Ryan Garland, Omar Debegi Pacheco. Priority Purple, overdose in progress. CBC, Ottawa.
What do you think about every time you use fentanyl?
Fuck it. But
What do you say to that? As someone who wants to help, when someone says, fuck it.
They think that maybe no one cares, but I think it's more that they think that they're not worth being cared about.
You're trying to establish the fact that you're going to be there the next day and you're going to miss them if they're not there.
Yeah.
If you show up and they're not there.
Yes. Yes. Absolutely. I can't imagine what it must feel like to know that, or believe that, nobody is on your side.
Priscilla Plamondon, La Lancette, Gil Chauchat. La face cachée de l'aluminium vert. Radio-Canada Info.
Les gens continuent de pêcher quand même dans le lac. Pourquoi?
Oui, nous continuons. Nous pêchons ce qui est disponible ici parce qu'il n'y a pas d'autre option. Donc, nous mangeons ce poisson. Écoutez, c'est triste de constater qu'il y a toute cette boue, on la voit. Mais plusieurs familles n'ont pas d'autre solution. Elles doivent pêcher et boire cette eau.
Brandy Morin, Geordie Day. The Apache stronghold standing in the way of a massive copper mine. Ricochet Media.
you said it's supposed to be safe to drink, so I don't know, would you feed your family this? I know that that's not natural because I've been on the river my whole life.
That we can't allow our water to be tainted, and this is going to court.
Official investigation into the Imperial Oil Curl facility.
For 10 months, this leak went unreported despite the Alberta regulator and the oil sands operators being fully aware of what was going on.
They were obviously hiding something.
Those are your finalists in the broadcast over 5 minutes category. Ceci vos finalistes dans la catégorie reportage parlé de plus de 5 minutes.
And the silver winner is Brittany Gihal and Tom Fenerio of APT Investigates.
Congratulations. Yes. Okay, the gold winner in broadcast over 5 minutes goes to Brandy Morin and Geordie Day for Ricochet. And I'd like to welcome Ethan Cox up to the stage.
Hi, everybody. I'm not Brandy, obviously. My name is Ethan Cox. I'm a senior editor at Ricochet and one of her editors. I want to thank the CAJ. I want to thank Brent and the entire team who have done such an excellent job with this weekend. I want to thank Andrea Houston, our wonderful managing editor who plays such a huge role in all of the work that we do. And most of all, I want to thank Brandy, who has really just put an incredible, irrepressible energy into her work. I've been working with her for years. She's won a lot of awards. She's done a lot of incredible work with communities here and abroad. The reason she can't be here tonight is because she just got back from Ecuador, where she's been doing a lot of work that you can read on Ricochet's site, and she wanted to get back to her daughter. But on her behalf, I do want to dedicate this award to independent media outlets. Yeah. I don't think that it's too controversial to say that Brandy is one of the most exceptional Indigenous journalists in this country. And I'm not sure that the work she does could have easily found a home in a lot of legacy outlets. And I think it really speaks to the importance and the role of independent outlets in our media ecosystem to be able to do things that are a little different, things that are a little outside of the box. And so again, I really want to thank Brandy for her incredible work. She puts so much of herself, expends so much of her energy. She cares so deeply about the people that she covers, the stories that she covers, and that's really commendable. So, way to go, Brandy. Thank you all.
There you go. You can go whichever. And read her book. It
it's a
makes
great
you
book.
think how exceptional she is.
Yeah, she's truly incredible. It's a heavy, important read for sure. Okay, we're going to move on to our next category.
The broadcast under 5 minutes category. La catégorie nouvelle parlée de moins de 5 minutes. Il y a 5 finalistes. There are 5 finalists. Rebecca Collard. The day after. Young Palestinians want honest democracy. CBC News.
Back at the Student Council office, Hassan says Palestinians have given up on the peace process, and any idea international support would protect them or bring about a Palestinian state. The last months, he says, have shown Palestinians they are on their own.
These Palestinians are able to resist themselves. They do not have to wait for the aids of people around them. They could pick up their own weapons. They could fight for their country. We do not have to wait for the liberation from outside.
Yvette Brend, Nicholas Allen. Lytton Rebuild. CBC Vancouver.
Other communities destroyed by fire have rebuilt. But here, despite more than $174 million in federal and provincial recovery funds, few are home.
There is no magic wand. People are getting back home on a gradual basis.
Part of the delay is the result of discoveries made after the town burned.
So we knew that we were walking on the bones of our ancestors for the most part.
Marie-Claude Paradis Desfosses. Violence à Lac-Simon. On se fait poignarder au primaire, confie un enfant de 11 ans. Nouveau Info.
On dirait que la criminalité, c'est une réponse à un besoin de protection, puis un besoin d'appartenance, puis une façon de répondre à des traumas qui viennent de loin. Fait que je veux pas entendre parler de vous autres pendant les culturels. Aucun appel à propos de vous autres pendant les...
Parler de violence, parler de consommation, c'est encore un sujet qui est tabou ici, mais il y a quand même des jeunes qui ont accepté de répondre à mes questions, préoccupés par ce qu'ils vivent au quotidien.
David Gentil, Daniel Boilly, Jacques Racine, Ivano Demer. Une plaidoirie fatale pour un tétraplégique. Radio-Canada Info.
95 ans à l'urgence sur une civière. Inacceptable. Mais le matelas arrive jamais. Jamais, jamais, jamais.
Mon médecin il est venu me voir et il dit l'infection est rendue dans tes os. Moi, je veux être capable de prendre Sylvie dans mes bras.
Romain Chou, Thomas Bignon. Dans les coulisses des traversées clandestines avec des passeurs indiens. Radio-Canada Info.
Des vidéos comme celle-ci, on en trouve à profusion sur les réseaux sociaux. On y voit des migrants d'origine indienne qui traversent des bois au sud du Québec pour aller clandestinement aux États-Unis. On a contacté plusieurs de ces passeurs en se faisant passer pour un ressortissant indien à Montréal. Les prix varient. Certains demandent 5 000 $, un autre 1 500.
Voilà les 5 finalistes dans la catégorie de reportage parlé à moins de 5 minutes. There are your 5 finalists in the broadcast under 5 minutes category.
Et les gagnants d'argent sont David Gentile, Daniel Boilly, Jacques Racine, Ivano Demers pour Radio-Canada Info. Et les gagnants d'or sont Romain Chuet et Thomas Bignon pour Radio-Canada Info.
Classic.
Waouh! Merci beaucoup. J'ai du mal à y croire. Thank you so much, everybody. Merci au CAJ d'être présent aussi ce soir avec nous dans un moment où ben, c'est pas l'ère la plus facile pour le journalisme non plus. Mais ça montre aussi à quel point le journalisme est important. Par exemple, ce reportage-là sur l'immigration, sur des réseaux de passeurs. Vous savez, on parle beaucoup de Donald Trump et d'immigration depuis que Donald Trump est arrivé au pouvoir. Il y a beaucoup d'exagération, évidemment, mais il y a aussi une part de vérité que nous, comme journalistes, on doit montrer. Et ça fait des mois, des années que des réseaux clandestins se sont introduits à la frontière entre le Canada et les États-Unis. C'était important. Ça fait des mois qu'on a essayé de travailler sur ces sujets-là. Et c'est formidable de travailler à CBC Radio-Canada parce que d'un océan à l'autre, on a des talents formidables, des collègues formidables. Ce sujet-là, j'ai pu le faire évidemment avec Thomas Bignon comme réalisateur, mais aussi avec Tabish, qui est un journaliste d'origine indienne, qui est dans l'ouest du Canada et qui, quand on a contacté des passeurs, quand on avait beaucoup de contacts avec des gens de la communauté indienne, a pu leur parler directement pour avoir d'autres informations qui nous ont permis de faire ce type de reportage-là. Donc, merci CBC Radio-Canada, merci au CAJ, merci à tous nos proches aussi qui sont avec nous parce que faire de l'enquête, c'est très prenant et c'est pas toujours évident, évidemment. Donc, merci beaucoup pour ce prix et d'être là pour cette soirée.
Congratulations. We'll move on to our next category, which is community broadcast.
The community broadcast category. La catégorie journalisme parlé communautaire. Taryn Grant, On the Doorstep, CBC Atlantic Voice.
They're all clean, just they're all wet. Try keeping them in plastic bags, but sometimes
tents like this one are meant to be portable fishing huts. They cost a few $100s, but through donations, they've become ubiquitous at Halifax encampments, especially this one in Grand Parade. It's a public square on the doorstep of City Hall.
Virginie Anne, Addictions Awareness Week, Crucial Conversations in the Yukon. CBC, Yukon.
But this place gave me my life for the first time. Like even before addiction, it was very difficult.
It's been snowballing, and I've seen a change.
At rock bottom, that people needed support and compassion.
Leila Savic, Emmanuel Moussa, Patou, Montréal. La Converse.
Oui, ça serait nice, mais non, parce que comme ça crée des temps trop faciles.
Mais comment trop facile?
Parce qu'il y a un dicton qui dit les temps durs créent des hommes forts créent des temps faibles créent des hommes faibles, puis les hommes faibles créent des temps forts.
Non, mais moi, j'ai juste plus envie d'être forte. J'ai juste envie d'être libre.
Est-ce que tu penses que tu pourras atteindre ce bien social-là?
Peut-être pas moi, peut-être mes enfants. Je l'espère pour mes enfants. Au moins, là.
Alice Zanera. Des citoyens lancent un café solidaire à Sainte-Foy. Fréquence CKIA.
Ce café solidaire profite aussi aux résidents québécois plus âgés, souligne Henriette.
Il y a beaucoup de chanceux là, qui ont commencé à sortir en venant ici. C'est très touchant. Hein?
Latifa, une musicienne arrivée il y a quelques jours de Tunisie, est venue porter sa candidature.
J'ai rempli le formulaire pour être bénévole et je propose des mini-spectacles. Pourquoi pas, dans les prochains jours, on peut faire quelque chose ici.
James Weston, Anthony Lipahardy, Anita Lee. When you're at risk every time you cross this intersection in Scarborough. The Green Line.
Drivers are looking down the road to make sure that they can squeeze through their left turn before a fast-moving motor vehicle comes in the opposite direction. And frequently, because their concern is with the huge vehicle coming at them, they aren't concerned in not paying attention to cyclists coming or pedestrians crossing.
I stand at the corner and I wait and I look until I know that there's nobody going to turn in front of me. Because they don't. Because All they see is the green light over there. They don't see the pedestrian crossing.
There are your 5 finalists in the community broadcast category. Voilà vos 5 finalistes dans la catégorie journalisme parlé communautaire.
For our silver award, congratulations to Taryn Grant, CBC Atlantic Voice. We'll make this as long and awkward for you as possible.
We'll stare at you.
Congratulations, Taryn.
Et les gagnants d'or, Léla Savic et Emmanuel Moussa pour la converse. Et Léla est avec nous.
All right. I planned this, the Matthew McConaughey thing. Okay, I did not plan to win, so yeah, this is going to be awkward. Merci beaucoup. Pato Montréal, c'est un projet qu'on a fait à l'école Converse parce que chaque mercredi, en fait, à l'école Converse, chaque semaine, on se rassemble avec des jeunes où est-ce qu'on leur donne leur parole, on leur apprend à faire du journalisme. Et à l'époque où est-ce que tout le monde pense que les jeunes, c'est la violence armée, et puis pourquoi les jeunes prennent des armes, mais en fait, il y a peu de gens qui prennent le temps de s'asseoir avec ces jeunes, et de comprendre qu'est-ce qu'ils vivent, qui ils sont. Et Pato Montréal, c'est ça. Donc, c'est un projet qu'on a fait avec Kester, Samy, Sajida, Nessim et Adriana. Et en fait, c'est un projet, je pense, qui devrait aller à eux. Et je vous incite, I really encourage you to listen to it because it's a story where we just listen to Montreal racialized youth who talk about how hard it is to be from these neighborhoods that are forgotten, from these neighborhoods that are really marginalized from people, but not from them and not from us. So power to the hood and power to us. Thank you.
Okay, now on to our data category.
The data journalism category. La catégorie journalisme de données. Valérie Ouellette, Mike Crawley, Aloysius Wong, Andreas Wesley. Canada's international student spike was blamed on private colleges. Here's what really happened. CBC News Investigative Unit.
Data obtained and analyzed by CBC News shows that what has been framed as a national crisis is in fact driven by a handful of colleges and universities. Out of the 10 with the greatest increases in study permits, 9 of them are public schools in Ontario.
It's not double or triple. We're talking 30 times more students.
This student advocate calls increases like these reckless.
They knew there was already a housing shortage problem, and that's how public colleges in Ontario responded, by trying to get as many as they could through the door before the door got slammed.
Julie Ireton, Valérie Ouellette, Felice Chin. Paid to stay home. CBC Ottawa.
The longest, most costly suspension is OPP Detective Sergeant James Christie. He's a former police union executive, suspended for 9 years and counting. Christie has been paid more than $1.5 million to stay home from work.
Most police officers are working professionally and doing their jobs properly, but we see these cases, and these are the cases that really, anger people and piss people off.
Aaron Anderson, Chen Wang, Rochelle Young Lai. Wasted space. Could Canada's underused public land be the key to solving the housing crisis? The Globe and Mail.
The Globe found 613 underused federal properties across Canada, enough to build 280,000 homes for nearly 750,000 Canadians.
Charles Mathieu, Dominique Cambron-Goulet. La carte des trappes à tickets. Voyez les secteurs avec le plus de contraventions. Journal de Montréal.
Nous avons analysé plus d'1 million de contraventions décernées par les policiers pour découvrir où se trouvent les intersections montréalaises les plus surveillées et les plus problématiques pour la sécurité des usagers de la route.
Sylvie Fournier, Daniel Tremblay, Benoît Michaud, Joanne Demers. Église catholique, Inc. Radio-Canada Info.
Pas facile de dresser le portrait financier de l'Église catholique au Québec.
C'est des ordres religieux qui sont établis au Québec depuis des décennies, voire même plusieurs centaines d'années. Il y a eu énormément de changements corporatifs qui ont été faits au fil du temps. De suivre ça, c'est extrêmement complexe.
Les données publiques sur les finances de l'Église sont incomplètes, mais nous allons lever un coin du voile et voir si l'Église, si réticente à indemniser ses victimes, en aurait les moyens.
Voilà vos 5 finalistes dans la catégorie journalisme de données. There are your 5 finalists in the data journalism category.
Et les gagnants d'argent pour journalisme de données sont Sylvie Fournier, Daniel Tremblay, Benoît Michaud et Joanne Demers. Est-ce que Benoît est là?
Benoît, no, okay. Ah, there he is. Congratulations.
L'autre Benoît Michaud de Radio-Canada.
And gold in this year's Data Journalism Award is presented to Valerie Willette, Mike Crawley, Aloysius Wong, Andreas Wesley of CBC Investigative Unit.
We get 3 of them, Val, Mike, and Andreas.
Okay, someone else take this. I know. Oh, boy. Okay. Yeah, it's this speech. Okay. Just gonna open the right one. Okay, bonjour. Hi. I want to acknowledge Mike Crawley and Andreas Wesley, who are here with me. And I also want to give a shout out to our teammate, Aloysius Wong, who's back in Toronto. I was really happy to be nominated for this story because to me, it embodies what data-driven journalism is truly about. It's not about coding in 3 languages. It's not about having any fancy tech. It's not about having a fancy degree or being a statistics wizard. All we used for this story was a PDF software and Google spreadsheets. And because data-driven work is really not about tech, it's about thinking like a journalist, it's about seeing hidden patterns in the world, connecting the dots in a way that no one else can, and in this case, fact-checking a simple statement repeated for months by our immigration minister, and publishing concrete numbers to prove that the blame in the international student crisis was not placed on the right parties. And we realized the power of this story when we understood that everybody was talking about this issue, about schools taking in crazy numbers of international students, but no one had actually broken down these numbers into real statistics, into a story. And so I want to thank Mike, who immediately saw this story's potential. When I approached him in January 2024, I kind of told him something like, Mike, I have numbers. Everybody's telling me this story's been done before. Is this something or not? And, you know, the Ontario Political Reporter knew immediately that it was a story, and he believed in me, he believed in our team. And he's also secretly kind of a data nerd. So, you know, we had a lot of fun on this story, and, you know, Mike, your political experience really elevated that story. We never could have done it without you, so thank you. And I also want to thank producer Andreas Wesley and associate producer Aloysius Wong, because when you do these data stories, often it begins when a spreadsheet of really dry numbers, and you have to turn that into compelling narratives with real interesting characters, and most important of all, emotion. And that is what Andreas and Aloysius did. And I also want to give a special thanks to Shabnoor Abdul-Latif, who's our main character. She told us that she left Iran because she wanted to speak her mind freely. And I think she did. And she was really proud that she did. You know, data-driven stories like these, they take time, and they don't all turn into home runs. And it takes great leadership and great vision and a lot of time and patience for people like me who throw numbers around and kind of want to take weeks or months to dive into something. And it takes time and vision to invest in data-driven investigations. And that's what CBC and especially the investigative unit have been doing for over 7 years. So thank you to the CBC leadership, Laura Green, Francis D'Souza, who's here tonight with us, supporting us, and Jim Williamson and Tayana Grandig for continuing to believe in us and our stories. Thank you. Merci beaucoup.
take a photo over there.
One more thing. I also want to thank our cameraman, Dave McIntosh. Amazing cameraman.
Yes.
La prochaine catégorie, les médias en ligne.
The online media category. La catégorie médias en ligne. Emily Blake. Effectively impossible for sex offenders to get treatment in NWT. Cabin radio.
The priority for him right now is he needs proactive counseling. We've pushed with the jails that he has access to that and have been disappointed, his mother said. I just haven't seen counseling being a priority in the system.
Robert Cribb, Declan Keogh, Norma Hilton, Scott Martin, Rhythm Sachdeva. Lead in drinking water. Investigative Journalism Bureau.
Ottawa area schools and daycares had some of the highest lead exceedances in the province, with more than half of all tests exceeding the federal safety guideline.
Thomas Gerbet, Autochtone et Hydro-Québec. Le grand malaise des factures impayées. Radio-Canada.
Alexis Malek n'a pas ouvert une lettre d'Hydro-Québec depuis des années. Devant nous, il déchire la dernière enveloppe reçue et il découvre le montant qu'il doit, 75 555 $.
Christopher Curtis, uncovering an illegal dumping scheme in Kanesatake. The Rover.
George smiled when I noticed the shotgun on his lap. "Don't worry, I'm a licensed carrier," he said. "There's some bad dudes involved in this, you know? I'm not taking any chances." I sat there and nodded while my mind tried in vain to process the sight of a pump-action shotgun under the steering wheel.
Chris Beaver, Katie O'Connor, Jasmine L. Kurd, Pam Palmater. NDN POV. TVO Today.
Canada portrayed itself as a peaceful, multicultural nation, free from the injustices of its colonial past, and a defender of human rights.
We also have no history of colonialism.
You can't tell a story to where Canada stole everything, to where they signed treaties and then broke them immediately, to where they killed children to benefit the state. That's not the story you tell to form national unity. That's a story you tell if you want people to really criticize your country and be like, are you even a legitimate country?
There are your 5 finalists in the online media category. Voilà vos 5 finalistes dans la catégorie médias en ligne.
And silver in online media goes to Robert Cribb, Declan Keogh, Norma Hilton, Scott Martin, and Rhythm Sachdeva.
Et le prix d'or and the gold goes to Chris Beaver, Katie O'Connor, Jasmine L. Kurd, and Pam Palmater from TVO Today. Chris is around.
I was kind of hoping for silver, no speech. First, I just want to say thanks to the CAJ for this great honor. And I really hope this just brings more eyes to NDN POV. I like to think of NDN POV as an act of Indigenous narrative sovereignty. It's an assertion of our right to tell our own stories on our own terms, and part of the broader struggle for Indigenous self-determination. Our narrative sovereignty has been denied for most of the Canadian colonial project, which has been to the detriment of us all. Making NDN POV has been challenging. My mind is often immersed in matters of settler colonial violence and issues that have plagued my people and continue to do so. And as a result of this series, I just can't unsee the effects of colonization in Canada today. And hard as it is, I kind of want you to all see it that way as well. Reconciliation is coming, but now is the time for truth, and it's time that we elevate Indigenous point of views. And with NDN POV, we're trying to make that really easy for you so that you can be informed very quickly and easily. My most important job title is Dad, so I just want to say thanks to my boys, Desmond and Oscar, for inspiring me to work hard for a better future. And special thanks to TVO for the opportunity and the space that they've given to me, and my team, Steve Paikin and Pokeroo. That was only the people from Ontario that responded to that. Yeah, special thanks to Lori Few, Katie O'Connor, Jasmine L. Kurd, Pam Palmater, and to all my participants. Miigwech.
All right, now for the final investigative category being presented this evening.
The Freedom of Information Journalism category. Le Prix au droit à l'information. Allison Jones, Ontario Hospital, LTC Homes spent nearly $1 billion on agency staff last year. The Canadian Press.
A November 2023 staffing agency update obtained by the Canadian Press through a Freedom of Information request shows that agency use increased from 2021-22 to 2022-23 by every metric, in hospitals and long-term care, in hours worked, and in total costs.
Emma McIntosh, Containment Breached. The Narwhal.
The slurry cascaded down Mimico Creek in the hours before dawn on August 18, 2023. Tumbling towards the waterfront where it entered the lake at Humber Bay Park.
Caroline Touzin, Ariane Lacourcière, Centre Jeunesse et Foyer de Groupe de la DPJ. De plus en plus de mesures de contention ou d'isolement. La Presse.
Les enfants hébergés en centre jeunesse au Québec sont les plus vulnérables de la société. Or, dans ces établissements, les mesures d'isolement et de contention sur les jeunes sont en hausse, ont révélé Ariane Lacourcière et Caroline Touzin grâce à des données obtenues par accès à l'information.
Thomas Gerbet, Northvolt. Québec a retiré des arguments scientifiques à son analyse. Radio-Canada.
Grâce à la loi sur l'accès aux documents, nous avons pu comparer les rapports d'analyse des deux projets, réalisés par la même biologiste du ministère, à quelques mois d'intervalle. Leur issue a été diamétralement opposée.
Amanda Follett-Hosgood. BC illegally collected personal info tied to the Wet'suwet'en conflict. The Tyee.
Lawyers for the province said they were aware that the ministry likely did not have the authority to indirectly collect the personal information, and that releasing more information could harm BC's relationship with the Wet'suwet'en Nation.
There are your 5 finalists in the FOI category. Voilà vos 5 finalistes dans le prix au droit à l'information.
So the award sponsor, FOI guru Ken Rubin, could not be here tonight, and he shared with us this message.
Hello. Debbie and I really applaud CAJ for choosing excellent candidates for the FOI award this year, and we are very heartened by that. Now, what we need now, though, is less secrecy and gag practices. We have to have an open society with day-to-day timely disclosures. We need to stop the codes of silence, years of waiting, and waves of no responses. So what we need, and CAJ can help press for this, is new right to information protection legislation at all levels of government with a Team Canada openness approach. We really do applaud the journalists who use FOI, and even though it is a struggle, we congratulate this year's FOI award winner. Thank you very much.
All right, and with that is my sincere pleasure to recognize the silver winner, Amanda Follett-Hosgood from the Tyee.
Et l'or pour la liberté du journalisme d'information revient à Caroline Touzin et Ariane Lacourcière de la Presse. Et Ariane est ici. Bravo.
Ben, merci beaucoup.
Merci à Caroline aussi d'avoir travaillé en équipe avec moi sur cette histoire-là. C'est un sujet qui nous touche beaucoup, Caroline, moi, puis j'ai aussi travaillé avec Katia Gagnon et Gabrielle Duchesne sur plusieurs histoires en protection de la jeunesse cette année. D'ailleurs, on est en nomination au Mitchener pour ces histoires-là la semaine prochaine. C'est vraiment, en fait, une clientèle qui est particulièrement vulnérable. Puis je pense que le travail de journaliste est encore plus important avec des populations comme ça. Puis ensuite aussi, peut-être en anglais, a quick word to the other colleagues nominated in this category. I read your submission and they are all fantastic. Access to information laws aren't perfect, at least not in Quebec, but talented journalists like you know how to use them to move society forward. So thank you.
And we're almost done, but just for all the people that won a certificate and are not here, if you're a colleague or friend, you can pick it up, the certificate with Jason at the end of the night in a secret stash behind the scene there. Donc pour tous ceux qui ont gagné mais qui ne sont pas là, si vous êtes un collègue, un ami, allez récupérer le certificat auprès de Jason qui est juste là. Et on se trouve presque à la fin de la soirée, plus qu'un seul prix à remettre. Le dernier prix de la soirée, c'est un hommage à Don McGillivray, journaliste canadien originaire de la Saskatchewan. Il a couvert la politique et l'économie pendant plus de 40 ans, en plus de cofonder l'organisme qui est maintenant connu comme l'Association canadienne des journalistes. Il est mort en 2003, ayant changé le monde du journalisme canadien. Ce grand prix qui est remis chaque année aux gagnants d'une des catégories d'enquête. So our last award of the night is the Don McGillivray Award. This award is named after political and financial journalist Don McGillivray, who passed away in 2003 after an over 40-year career. He was one of the CAJ's founding members and a past president. A special jury has chosen the recipient from the gold winners of our 8 investigative categories.
Yeah,
Sorry,
so to refresh,
English is like getting hard.
No, you're incredible, is what you are. To refresh your memory, here they are. So written news, Jeff Hamilton and Katrina Clark from the Winnipeg Free Press.
Média communautaire, Heather Wright, The Independent.
In broadcast over 5 minutes, Brandy Morin and Jordy Day.
Nouvelles parlées, moins de 5 minutes, Romain Chuet et Thomas Bignon de Radio-Canada Info. Journalisme parlé communautaire, Léla Savitch et Emmanuel Moussa de La Converse. Et prix au droit à l'information, Caroline Touzin et Ariane Lacourcière, La Presse.
In data journalism, the CBC News investigative team, and in the online media category, the team at TVO Today.
And the big moment.
Oh, drum roll. And the 2024 Don McGillivray Award goes to Winnipeg Free Press's Jeff Hamilton and Katrina Clark with their expose of Manitoba's childcare system.
Prepare 2 speeches.
I absolutely did not. I feel like I went over on my first one. I don't even know what to say, to be honest with you. Just to reiterate some of the things I said earlier, this job is, well, it's not a job. I think it's more of a calling. It's something that you know, I wanted to be a sports journalist. And I was a sports journalist for the better part of my 15 years doing this job. And then when I went to every single NHL arena and every single CFL stadium, it just wasn't any fun anymore. I felt like I'd gotten there, and then I got a chance to do an investigation in 2017. It took me 3 years. 3 years in HR mess and really a lot of success out of that, and it just grew from there. Now this is just so special, and I'm really at a loss for words. I feel like I'm in a room of my heroes. All the work that's been represented tonight, it's just such a testament, and all we hear day in and day out is how journalism is dying, and that journalism, you know, the lack of trust in journalists and news organizations, and then you come to a weekend like this and you just feel like it just returns, even if it's just a little bit, and to see everybody's emotion, to see everybody's attention to detail in their work and their passion, and to see that throughout this weekend, to be part of that, it's such an honor. to be here and to be here in this moment. It's surreal, to be quite honest with you. We don't do it for awards, obviously. We do it for impact, and to be able to be recognized like this is just an extra special add-on to what's been a great weekend. So thank you very much, guys.
Et c'est ce qui conclut la fin de notre programme ce soir. Merci à tous ceux dans la salle, ici à Calgary, au Canada, encore pour l'instant en tout cas. Et merci à tous ceux qui nous ont suivis en ligne. Félicitations à tous les finalistes et aux gagnants. Nous espérons vous revoir toute l'année prochaine pour CAJ 26 à Ottawa.
Oh, okay. Thanks for spending time with us in Calgary, and to everyone who joined in online. A massive congratulations to all of our finalists and our recipients as well. We really do hope to see you all again next year for CAJ 26 in Ottawa. But for now, the night is still young in this time zone at least. So please let the locals show you where to have a good time in Cowtown. We can teach you how to two-step. Enjoy and have a wonderful night.
Bonne soirée à tous.